And we are live. Dawn here with Romance Happy Hour. And I am noticeably missing Dylan, one of our co-hosts of the show. I think last time we told our viewers she is on a trip to see her daughter, I think in Greece. I think that's where she went to, but she is overseas. So
Wow.
I'm like, I got this. And Brittany, I think most of our viewers have met Brittany before. She comes on here and helps me out every once in a while. So she's going to be co-hosting with me. Brittany, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm tired, but
Good.
I'm good.
Oh, I'm tired too. And I'm like, I think it's like the earliest here than you all. You're all on, are you on Central now or are you on Eastern, Brittany?
Yeah, I'm central.
You're Central and everybody else is Eastern and I'm Mountain Standard. So it's 7 o'clock where I am at. I enjoy that very much. I used to do the 9 o'clock business, but I don't have to anymore. So, Brittany, what are you working on?
Right now I am revamping my You and Me series. I'm cleaning them up a little bit, and I have a new series kind of in the works. Uh, we'll see where that one goes. I told myself I wasn't going to start a new series before the other was finished, but I think I'm going to make myself a liar.
Well, how many times do we do that, anyways, right? You got voices in your head that need to get out. So that's okay. I'll
Yeah.
give you permission. Romance Happy Hour permission to be okay with that. Um, and
Right.
so And so you're working on that, and other than that, how's life? We haven't seen you in forever. Doing good.
Yeah, we're back in Alabama, settled. We have a farm now. We've got a cow and pigs and chickens and goats and rabbits, and my kids are growing like weed, and we're hoping to add more cows to our farm soon. So it's been busy.
Nice.
Very
Yeah.
productive but busy.
Do your kids do 4-H?
A little bit. They dabble in it right now. They do a
Yeah.
lot of music and stuff, and
Yeah.
I was joking with my husband that I was gonna disown the second one because I was telling him I was getting on this today, and he was like, "Oh, what are y'all gonna talk about?" And I said, "Books," and he goes, "Boring." And I'm like,
Yeah. No.
I always joke with that they're gonna get written out of the will. And I was like, "You're not my favorite anymore. You're getting written out of the will."
Yeah. Well, we have chickens here, and I'm actually like this week one of my chickens died, and I cried like all day because it was my
Oh,
favorite one. And I know like farm life, you have to be okay with that. I was conditioned to that, but then she was my favorite, and it was just an accident. So
yeah,
yeah,
no, that's
farm life
okay.
sucks sometimes. But
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
had
get a
to.
goat. So we're kind
Ooh,
of trying to get there. Yeah, my youngest is gonna show a goat in 4-H. So yeah.
we just
So
got
are
a
you
male
adding
goat,
any?
so hopefully we'll have some.
Yeah, and are you gonna make goat's milk and goat cheese and all that?
Yeah, I would like to. We've had goats that we've tried to milk before, and one almost caught my husband in the face, and he gave up on that for a while,
Yeah,
understandably. But we have
yeah,
two females that are very, very mild, and we've handled them since they were born. And then we're hoping to get another cow so we can milk a cow because milk out here is almost $5 a gallon, and my kids go through it like crazy. So I'm like,
wow,
it would be
yeah,
nice to have it on the tap outside.
yeah. That's why I love my chickens. They give me eggs. They give me my eggs.
Yes.
I love it. Um, have you ever written a farm animal in one of your books?
Um, I think in Hear Me Call, she talks about wanting a chicken because she can have chicken nuggets and breakfast or eggs for breakfast. But I have not done a full on farm. I think that one is in the very near future because
Nice.
uh, at work we joke about I could have like a comedy on what goes on at this comedy or a drama. I've
Yeah.
had to step out of meetings because of loose pigs and a loose cow, and we got a call at 3 o'clock in the morning that the cow was right in my neighbor's driveway, just staring at him. And he was like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to go to work. And he was like, I don't know what it was at first. And we're like, yeah, it was Susanna. She's going for a visit. So I can definitely write some kind of rom-com or something with
Yeah,
some of the
for sure.
episodes that go on here.
Dylan had one of her earlier books. She had a pig, a troublemaking pig in her book, and her publisher actually like put a little pig on the outside of the pages, and so like when you flipped it, the pig would run up and down the pages like
Oh, that's
that. It's super
cool.
cute, and I can't remember what the book was. So if Dylan pops on, she claims she's going to pop on here. So if she pops on here, Dylan, and you see this, like post in the comments what book that is, so they can go check out your pig book. It's one of her early ones.
That's neat.
Well, we are joined here by Judy Kentrus. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. And Skye McDonald. And I really hope that I actually wrote that right on all of the graphics. Now that I'm okay. Like, okay. All right,
Yeah, you
Judy,
did.
introduce us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're giving away, what you're working on, anything you want our readers to know about you. Like, here's your time to shine. Let us know about you.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me this evening.
Yes.
I think this is great what you do. And I'm going to be sharing with you and your everybody who's listening my new book, Dickens Holiday of Lights. Dickens Holiday of Lights. And for myself, I write contemporary romance, romantic suspense, sweet fantasy, rom-com, later in life, and historical romance.
Ooh.
I cannot stay in a box. I just need to, keep up this variety. I actually have 42 books. And
Oh, wow.
if anybody wants to see them, I have them on my website. And my giveaway is going to be a signed copy of Dickens Holiday of Lights. This one here.
Nice.
And it came out on November the 5th.
Oh.
And I have two other books in the Dickens series. I'll tell you about the Dickens series. Has 32 standalone stories written by all other authors, and they all take place in Dickens, and it's a made-up town in New England.
Okay.
And all the stories embrace the spirit and the tradition of the holidays. So basically, where we can use each other's characters. In my book, this was the first one, The Bells of St. Dickens. Then the second one was Kringle All the Way. But the other authors can reference the characters in here. So it's almost like one big happy family.
Nice.
So again, and the couples in here show up in this one. As somebody who's written a series, I'm sure you have a Bible, and it's getting to the point where, I have to make sure I try to keep all these people straight. And even my editor will come back and say, wait a minute, that character was in some other book. But as somebody like Brittany's going to write a series, I'm sure you have to figure out who's in what. And
Yeah.
But I like writing in a series because you get to know these people. They're real to you. They are to me anyway. And the first two books I have on special for 99 cents. This newest one is $1.99. Would you like me to read some from the book now?
Well, let's hear from Skye real quick and
Yeah,
kind of
Skye.
introduce her, and then we'll get to you in a minute. But first, I wanted to show you that Tiffany said she loves your cover.
Oh, thank you. I love it too. It depicts the entire story.
Yeah. All right, Skye, what about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're giving away, anything you want the readers to know.
Hello. It's so lovely to be here. I'm so excited. Judy, I'm honored to be on this with you. I am so glad to be part of this. So hello, and hello to everybody in the chat. I can't comment somehow. I keep trying to connect via my YouTube. So I'm sad, but I can see everybody chatting. So hello to the people in the chat. My name is Skye McDonald. If we haven't met in some way, shape, or form, I write romances to make you laugh, cry, and swoon. My books are contemporary romance featuring strong women learning to love themselves before they can claim their happily ever after relationship. Spoiler, they always do. So my books started, my first series was the Anti-Bell series in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to touch my books over here. And now I have moved on to the hockey rink because I am a massive hockey fan, specifically a hockey goalie girly. So two of my 3 Connecticut Commodores books are actually about goalies. And one fun fact is that I have a goalie who has been my technical advisor to make sure I got it all just right, because there are actual on-ice scenes in my hockey romances. My most recent release is In the Crease. So it's not a pig or a farm animal, but there is a corgi on the cover. So
I love that.
I was very excited about that.
Cute.
Yes.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's so cute. But don't let the cover fool you, because while it is cute, super cute and super gives you all the feels, it's also super steamy. But In the Crease is book 3 of a 4-book series. So what I'm working on right now is pulling together the plot for the 4th and what will probably be final book in my Connecticut Commodore series before I move on to some other things in 2025. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. And all of my books, I guess, sort of similar but very different from what Judy was talking about with her Dickens, and how the characters are moving across the stories. In my books, they all create a world. So somebody called it like the MCU of romance. So basically all my books are standalones, but when you read them, you see the side characters become main characters later on. So even through my Nashville series in book 4, the male main character in that book is the brother of the main character in book 1, Scoreless, in my hockey series. So everything kind of weaves together, but I've created the way I've set it up. You don't have to read any book to dive in. You should go wherever it appeals to you. You will get a great story. You'll get plenty of steam. And then hopefully you'll want to read more of the world.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Judy, I think we're pretty much ready to pop you up there if you're okay. If you're ready.
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna. Do you need to set anything up?
I've actually printed it out.
Oh, perfect.
This is a sweet romantic comedy. So just so you know, the books that I have written in the Dickens series are all sweet romances. This is the blurb for Dickens' Holiday of Lights. Elise Charette's dream to open a creperie with her husband was crushed when he was tragically killed in a car accident. Needing a new start, she moved to Dickens and was hired as the Dickens Event Center and Train Depot manager. Their first Holiday of Lights train ride will draw attention to the original train depot on the property. However, several citizens have opposed the idea, claiming the building had no historical recognition and that event would draw shoppers from town. Elise is determined to find out the real reason behind their strong objection. Giles DeLuc oversaw a chain of 5-star restaurants throughout the country. His business-driven world is shaken when his brother confronts him about a property the company is considering for a new restaurant. Giles' selfishness results in a family losing their dream. Riddled with guilt, Giles plans to start over in Dickens, open a small cafe specializing in crepes. He visited his friends in the quaint town a year ago. He purposely moves next to Elise Charette and her delightful children, but he knows it will take a Christmas miracle to get her to forgive him. And this is an excerpt from chapter 1. Elise twirled the scraper spatula atop the batter on the griddle, ensuring the crepe's thickness was perfectly even. As soon as it was a golden brown, she expertly folded the pastry into a triangle and placed it on her daughter's breakfast plate. Sophie cut it into bite-sized pieces and at least cringed when her daughter drenched them in maple syrup. "Mom, you make the best crepes. I love real maple syrup we get from Mr. Maple's farm, not that fake kind in the store." And Elise glanced at her 14-year-old sitting across the table. His plate of 3 crepes had gone untouched. Normally, the kids weren't allowed to use their tablets or phones while eating, but Emil was working on a special project for his art class, so she'd given him a pass. How close are you on finishing your report? Emil lifted his eyes away from the screen. I have a little bit more to do, research, but I'll finish and turn it in on Monday. Great, now eat while the crepes are relatively warm. Emil shoved a bite into his mouth, chewed and swallowed. Mom, why do we have singing pipes in this house? The wood doors and the floors creak too. When I turn the hot water on in the upstairs bathroom, the pipes knock and whistle, Sophie added. Elise was always amazed at how quickly they jumped from one subject to another, specifically their noisy house. Are you kidding me? This house may be old, but it's uniquely musical. The previous owner told the realtor the stones were brought in from a quarry in Pennsylvania. When tapped, the stones give off special sounds. He called it the Ringing Rocks house. Emil curled his lip. Really, Mom? Honest, she sighed, holding up her hand, taking an oath. It's not the modern house that we lived in Chicago, but it fit my house purchasing budget. Their lives have been turned upside down the past year, but she was lucky to have 2 beautiful children. The question needed to be asked, both of you. I know it was hard for you to give up your friends and move to a new place, but do you like living in Dickens? Sophie jabbed her fork into a last piece of crepe on her plate. First, it was hard, but I have a lot of new friends. Linny and Holly and Ivy are my besties. We're using Linny's baby brother to practice when we become babysitters. Practice? What do you mean? Where's Mrs. Nielsen when you're playing adventures in babysitting? Oh, she's right there. Linny showed us how to put a diaper on him. He just started walking, so we help him. You've made friends and are learning babysitting skills. Is there anything else that makes you happy that we're living in Dickens? I like that we live close to Aunt Britta and Uncle Dane and visit them at Two Sisters Kringle and Fudge. They let me help make fudge. I'm going to go try out for the Bells of St. Dickens at the old holiday at the library on Christmas Eve. Linny said we're going to be on television. This year it will be the event center, and then so that we can accommodate more people. Yeah, it's good. I like living here. Sophie set her plate on the table and set it on the scarred Formica counter. I need to change before we leave for the library. But you're already dressed. Oh, I forgot. We're reading A Boy Called Christmas for a Christmas club. So Linny, me, and Holly decided to wear Christmas shirts. Elaine just shook her head and drank some of her herbal tea. Your turn, she said to Emil. If I tell you the truth, it will make you feel bad. I asked, so be honest. The kids think I'm weird. Weird? Yeah, because I like art, paintings of famous people. When we lived in Chicago, we went to museums and art galleries. She wished there had been some other way and didn't dare share the real reason they had to move here, which still gave her nightmares. Emil, I wish we could have stayed in Chicago, but I had to do what was best for you, your sister, and me. I know, he said, looking her in the face. So what else is bothering you? He moved away from the table to the small closet where they stored their backpacks and handed her a flyer. The art teacher handed these out the other day. You're starting an art club after school. I didn't say anything because you work late the same days. She read over the flyer that outlined the club's intention. I think this is wonderful. Things have slowed at the event center, and I'll be working from home more. And she held out a hand. Give me a pen, and I'll sign for permission form for you to join the club. He threw his arms around her neck. You're the best mom. I take it you're going to be research. I'll keep an eye on Sophie at the library if their book club meeting ends before you come to pick up after your meeting at the event center. I take it you're going to go research your art project? Haley and I agreed to meet in the research room. Is she into art too? He blushed slightly. Yeah, graphic arts. She's really good. Have you shared any of your wonderful graphic figures with the kids who call you weird? Personally, I think they'd be surprised at some of your unique characters. She dipped her head to the side, casually mentioned that you're creating a league of superheroes for a graphic novel and that the characters are based on your friends. You'll try to figure out who you selected. Mom, you're really smart, he grinned, revealing a full set of braces. He put his empty plate on the counter and grabbed his tablet from the table. I'm going to call Haley right now, and then I have to take a shower. She sat at the table and sipped her herbal tea. Crisis averted. She still had an hour before she had to drop the kids off at the library annex. From there, she had a meeting with Sebastian Nielsen and Axel Frost, the owners of the Dickens Event Center. This would be the first Christmas for the Event Center and the Train Museum. She'd taken a lot of responsibility, helping Sebastian and Axel's dream come true. She knew about dreams, but she'd learned the hard way that making wishes on stars, finding that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, discovering a four-leaf clover, and crossing your fingers never worked. The knocking, followed by a slow, easy whistle, let her know Emile was taking a shower. The pipe's musical effects varied. Sometimes she laughed and stepped into the mind of a composer of a song. She clasped the fleur-de-lis pendant on the chain around her neck, a cherished gift from her late grandmother. Claude, she said to her late husband, you left a mess, and I'm doing my best. The children and I have a new life, and we're happy. The shyster moneylender you borrowed money from hasn't found us. Hopefully, he never will. Feeling sorry for herself, time was over. She stepped to the old enamel sink, added liquid soap to the large basin. She had just turned on the warm water when Sophie rushed into the kitchen. Mom, can we go to Two Sisters Crinkle and Fudge after the library? They have a new flavor. She stopped, and her eyes widened when she saw the mound of bubbles. Mom, let's do it! Sophie's giddiness was infectious. Why not? Only if you help me wipe up the floor. Deal. Hold out your hands. Elise scooped up a mountain of bubbles. Some of you and some for me. Now blow. Their warm breath spent mounds of bubbles into the air as they sang. I'm forever blowing bubbles, bubbles in the air. They fly so high, nearly reaching the sky. Elaine continued the rest in her head. Then, like dreams, they fade and die. That's just part of chapter 1. And as you can see, I love children. When I'm desperate, I'll say to my granddaughters, I need an idea for a name. I always have cats, dogs. I have one book where a lady has a farm. She gave all of her farm animals names because she owned a bakery. So she has muffin and cheesecake and whatever.
That's so cute.
They say, I didn't introduce you to Giles, and he does get redeemed. Believe me, he really does.
Is he a grumpy?
Pardon?
Is it Grumpy Sunshine? Is he Grumpy Sunshine?
No.
Or is he just grumpy?
He's full of remorse. He's not grumpy. He feels guilty about what happened, and I can't tell you too much.
Oh, yeah.
But it does affect the dream she had of opening her own creperie with her husband. And as I say, I don't want to give it all away, but there's a reason why some busybodies in town don't want her to make sure the train station that is really old was it's a historical building. But there's people in town that don't want her to have it declared a historical building. And I can't tell you why, but I will tell you one of my reviewers, she said she laughed out loud.
Oh, good. That's always good. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so Brittany, I think we had a couple questions pop up.
Yep.
Which one do you want to start with first?
Donna had a question for both Judy and Skye. What is your favorite genre to write?
Romantic suspense.
Oh,
Absolutely is my super best favorite. Even my historical romance. That took me 5 years to write. It's 176,000 words. I'm
wow.
working on the sequel, and it's romantic suspense.
Wow.
Love that. Love it.
Now, what kind of historical do you write? What era?
Okay, my one historical, people couldn't believe that I came out with a historical since I'm basic contemporary. It's about one of the first clipper ships that has
Okay.
ever came out. It takes place in Boston, 1849. It's called Spirit of the Winds, and that's the name of the ship and the name of the boat. And my ship captain, who I love, he's only like 29, and he decided he had worked all of his life to become a ship's captain, and he thought he owned the Spirit of the Winds. Well, Catherine's father was part of the person who designed it and helped build this ship, but he died under mysterious circumstances. So Catherine is part owner, and let me tell you what she does to him, this ship captain, and she's only 19. And one of the things that I felt difficult doing, writing about a 19-year-old girl. I don't write about children, teenagers or 26 or 27-year-old kids. Most of my characters are 35 and older. And women these days they're self-sufficient. They think for themselves. But a 19-year-old girl in 1849, she had to follow the rules. Well, she didn't, but it's a game changer.
Yeah, I write historical myself, and Brittany and I are both sailor wives, and so our husbands were sailors, so we're loving seafaring. But yeah, I love it. It sounds like an amazing book, and I love writing heroines, and even in my contemporaries, both historical and contemporaries, heroines who bend the rules a little bit. I mean, you have to have a heroine who's going to stick up for herself and who's going to be the hero of her own book if she needs to be.
What I did was when I was doing my research, Ladies Godey's book, it was 1840, 1850. And supposedly, or according to the research, they would have all these fashions. But the executrix, was it Josepha Hale? Anyway, she would put these articles in about how women should think for themselves, and they could run for an office, a political office. And of course, this is what Catherine was reading about: thinking for yourself. Who cares about fashions? So this is basically who and what she is. I mean, I have a free prequel on BookFunnel. If you go on my website, there's a free prequel that I put together so that the readers could find out who these people were. Cadell, the ship's captain, he's part Polynesian, and he's supposed to be taking over the chief of he's supposed to be an island chief. He doesn't want to do that. He's not going to give up sailing. But again, I put this prequel together to show readers who these people are and what made them the way they think now. I mean, in the book.
Do you want to post me, send that link to your freebie or your website or whatever, where they can get the freebie on the private chat, and I can post it so that they can go over there and grab it if you'd like.
Oh, sure. It's just my website, and judykentrus.com. And it's a free it's really bold. It's a free prequel on BookFunnel.
And Skye, I saw you were wanting to say something. So what?
It's just funny because I'm listening to talk about historical fiction, and I haven't written a historical yet, but I did write a story set in 1986.
Okay.
And they say that that's not historical because you have to go back at least 50 years. And so when I'm listening to Judy talk about all these historical things, I'm like, that's right. That's like I looked up like what albums The Cure had out. And so it's like, it's pretty funny to think about the way that historical works and I think it's awesome how romance authors bring in so much historical accuracy. And it's obviously just yet another testament to the legitimacy of our genre, which is obvious for anybody who reads and loves it. But it was funny to listen to Judy talk about that just now, because I'm thinking like, yeah, that's right. It's like I was looking up what Reagan was doing in the 80s, and it was very fun to create and go back into time in a way like that. So
yeah, I write historical as well, like I said, but I found in my research that some of the most crazy things have actually happened in history that you wouldn't even imagine, like,
oh yeah,
and
it's better than fiction. Like,
yeah, it really is. Like some of our viewers know this, our regular viewers know this, but there's a lot of you here that aren't our regular viewers. But I got the premise for my very first novel because I was like, what do I want to write about? Where do I want to write? And I know cowboys because I grew up in Montana, so I'm like, okay, but I love history. Like history, I'm fascinated by it. And so I started researching, and I found out that in 1850 there were wild camels in the mountains of Montana. And the settlers would kill them thinking they were moose and get to them and be like, what's going on here? Well, the army brought them in to try to as an experiment to see if they worked better, because that was at the time that they were bringing the natives to the reservations, helping them out with that. But the camels just would not work for them, and they wouldn't obey. And so they just let the camels go in the mountains of Montana. And so we had about a decade or two where there were wild camels in Montana. And I'm like, you can't make that up. So
I think that is so cool. I think that is so cool.
So cool.
Right?
Oh my God.
And that actually sparked the premise for my first book that I ever wrote. And I'm like, okay, so
that's so cool.
It's just, yeah.
That is so cool. I love that.
Are insane. It's crazy what things have actually happened in history. Okay, Brittany, do we have another question?
Yes. Let's see. Renee wants to know your personal favorite authors.
Oh, that's so hard. Like, it's like in the genre or out of the genre. And also, Renee, thanks for the shout out to the 80s. Like I said, I can't comment in the chat, but in the genre or out of the genre, like my favorite author of all time may be Margaret Atwood. And so that's like from a lighthearted contemporary romance. But I love The Handmaid's Tale. It's one of my favorite books, and I think Margaret Atwood is a genius. And I love Ursula Le Guin too, because I'm also a big sci-fi fan. But if we're talking like in the genre, because I also saw Tiffany's question about, or no, maybe it was Donna's question about an author inspiring. In the genre, like I have a hard time picking. I also don't want to like blow anybody up or just list my friends. But I guess that one of the people who first ever kicked me off, which I have not had a pleasure of meeting them, was Christina Lauren. Just always really like their early books. They were so spicy. I enjoyed them quite a lot. But yeah, so most of my authors that I would name are actually outside of romance, even though I adore and read romance voraciously as well. So,
well, the first person that I actually read when I started writing book was Kathleen Woodiwiss.
Oh,
as you know,
love her.
And Shauna, don't ask me how many times I've read Shauna. I think I have 4 copies, and they're all dog-eared. But she's
a dog-eared person.
She introduced me to the world of historical fiction. I mean, I just love her. And I guess my favorite author is Nora Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
I met her twice at one of the signing, and I went to her Turn the Page bookstore. But she writes such a variety from her silhouette books, and my favorite is the In Death series, J.D. Robb. So, but I mean, I have a lot of author friends, and I'm not going to name any super one because I don't want to show any favoritism. But again, I'll stick with those two names because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
So are those the ones that inspired you to become an author then?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, Kathleen Woodowis, and nobody can write like her, but she's the one that inspired me.
Yeah. I love reading her books. Yeah, she's definitely on my shelf a lot. All right, let's do one more question, Brittany, before we hear from Skye.
Yeah, Tiffany wants to know, out of all of your books you've written, which is still a favorite of yours? It's like picking a favorite child.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to go with my historical.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I'm working on the sequel now, and I started it 6 months ago, and it's going to be called Spirit of the Seas. And I'm not looking at it to launch. I mean, I self-publish everything, so I'm looking maybe next June. But my favorite book is Spirit of the Winds.
Nice. What about you, Skye?
This one, Nemesis.
She's got it ready. Okay.
They're all right behind me. Okay. So Nemesis was my third book that I brought out. And actually after that, I went on a hiatus where it came out in the spring of 2020. So I didn't bring out another book until on my own until 2023. So I took a pause on bringing the series out. But Nemesis, I felt like I was really hitting my stride. The first two books are great, but there's a lot going on in this book, and these two characters are so headstrong and spicy. It's a hate to love, forced proximity, brother's best friend, but he never hated her. And so it's still probably my favorite first kiss scene that I've ever written. They're so mad at each other, and it's just like, wow. So while I love all my book babies very much, and whenever I'm at an event and somebody's like, well, this one is usually the one I'm going to go to, because I don't know, there's just something about it. It's got a trigger warning in it. I will say that. There is a fight scene, not between the two main characters, but there is a fight scene. So, but this one, for some reason, just always stays with me.
So do you guys put a piece of yourself in every single one of your books?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In some way, shape, or form, yes. Even if you don't mean to.
And which one of your books do you think has the biggest piece of you? I like to sometimes come up with really cool, deep
I have to
questions.
tell you, I have a book called Frozen Hearts.
Okay.
And Margaret is 57. Her boyfriend is 59. And it was actually my land sea tour of Alaska that I took. But Margaret is a character that has been in quite a number of books. So I decided she deserved her own. And I call her Formidable Margaret. And when I was writing her character, I said, this is me. It's just the words. I knew how she felt. And I mean, she went on the same land sea tour of Alaska that I did, but it's her character. She doesn't take any crap from anybody. She's the judge, a mayor, and a lawyer. And she decides she needs to go on vacation on this land sea tour of Alaska. And writing about her character came so easily. It's whatever. And I mean, she gets threats before she leaves because she's been a judge for 20 years. And her family said, you can't go. You don't tell Margaret no. They don't tell me no in my house. No, they don't tell me no. And so they get her protection, but she doesn't know it's protection. And they know the right guy is going to be her first boyfriend in high school. So when she meets him on the trip, it's like a reunion. So she accepts him. Yeah. But again, I think Margaret is me. I really do.
I know I mentioned before all the places, well, some of the places I lived because we were talking about like an adjacent town and everything. But I've also lived in Alaska. So,
I missed 7 states in the United States of
all
traveling.
right, nice.
Inclu-
I've
Been to
got Hawaii. I have not been to. I've got
you could,
3.
I've been there.
Yeah. Oh, geez,
Yeah,
I'm jealous. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I've been through the Panama Canal twice too.
I've been once. Well, nope, twice because there and back with the military.
Oh,
I
see,
was gonna say, my sister told me I couldn't join the military, and so I joined the military. I mean, I'm that kind of girl too. Like you're a heroine. Like if you can tell her she can't do it, she's gonna F and do it, right? And I'm so glad I censored myself because I am a sailor. So, and it is PG-13. And Dylan always makes fun of me because I'm usually the one to spoil the PG-13
yeah.
rule. But let's hear from Skye. I'm very excited. Skye, let's put you up there.
Hi. Okay, so I guess I'm going to dive in and talk about In the Crease. Okay, In the Crease is my most recent release. It came out October 29th. It is the 3rd book in my Connecticut Commodore series. It is a total standalone, though. You don't have to have read the first ones, but if you do, it just kind of builds on it. So I'm going to read the blurb, and then I'm going to read a scene in the middle that kind of sets the stakes, I would say, for most of the plot. Also, hello to everybody. It's good to see you. Okay, In the Crease, Nika. I never thought I'd be a loudmouth influencer who fangirled over her favorite hockey player. I definitely never thought I'd get an invitation to his wedding. But I probably definitely should have thought twice before making out with the cute stranger I met there. How was I to know he was the team's backup goalie? Ryan. My role with the Connecticut Commodores was clear. Support the guys, track our data, and be ready to play anytime the starting goalie needed a break. Suddenly, I am the starting goalie. I've got a team to carry, imposter syndrome to battle, and a certain social media influencer under my skin. Ryan and Nika share a spark after a spicy meet cute at a wedding, but when reality thrusts the backup goalie and sassy social media influencer together, they must set aside their instant attraction and face their insecurities. Does a girl from the wrong side of the tracks deserve a fairy tale romance? Can a nerdy goalie find the confidence to claim what he wants on and off the ice? This season, the biggest play of all will be for true love. So they met and they had a fun meeting at the main goalie's, Quinn's, wedding, but then they ran into each other and they realized who each other were. They did not understand that at the beginning of the book. So at this point, they do know who each other are, and Quinn has been hurt. So this starts with the press conference where Ryan is talking as he is getting ready to fill in for Quinn for the season. Nika's watching because she is press here, and she's listening to him talk about how he's going to support the team. What's this guy's story? He looks like he should be building websites, not playing pro hockey. How would I have even guessed he was an athlete that night? Will stand in for Quentin with every ounce of dedication and talent that I have. I assure you, this season will. I listened to Ryan Malloy damn near whisper his way through a statement from the back corner of the press room. Those black frame glasses slipped down his nose more than once, making me wonder just how hard he was sweating under all this attention. But every time he pushed them back up and soldiered on. It reminded me of how he played hockey, steady, reliable, and safe. But it was the opposite of how he kissed, deep, teasing, and hungry. Shut up, Nika. You don't know how he kisses because that never freaking happened. Focus. My thoughts snapped back to the podium when he folded the paper and looked up. The lights reflected off his glasses as he managed a half smile. All that to say, I know I'm not Quentin Paris, and I'm very well aware that I'm not nearly as popular with the fans as he is. I've seen some of the commentary already. He chuckled and my cheeks warmed. Absent-mindedly, I rubbed the bridge of my nose where I'd straight up plowed into him last night as I stared at my phone. Was it worse that I didn't recognize him immediately, or that he knew exactly who I was? Was it worse that I had, as he said, ghosted him or roasted him? No, it was definitely worse that I kissed him. Again. Leave it alone, woman. Focus, focus, focus. You cannot mess up anymore. While I struggled to stay in the moment, Malloy went on. but my dedication to the Commodores is unwavering, and I have a hell of a team surrounding me. We've got this, guys, I promise. His quiet oath seemed to settle everyone down. Even my skeptical heart cheered him on. I suddenly wanted him to succeed, regardless of the likes I got for talking smack about him. The conference broke up. Journalists filed out, murmuring to each other and making notes on their phones. I pushed my shoulders off the wall and checked my messages. Several social responses and a text. Bruce, I have some thoughts about your platform. You can lean into Malloy and win. Are you ready to talk more? If you're ready to discuss my cut, that is. I dumped the phone into my purse. When I looked up, the room was nearly empty. Resolving to mute my manager's texts from now on, I hurried to trail behind the last reporters headed for the door. I held my breath until I was safely in the hallway, where I saw security escorting people to the exit. Leaving me alone. Alone and unsupervised in the Commodore's arena. A wicked little smile curled my lips. The angel on my shoulder shut up pretty quickly. I spun around and scurried down the hall, unsure where I was going, but ready for anything. Navy and maroon stripes on the walls gave a sense of leading me somewhere. Where, I wasn't sure, until I got to a T on the path. A sign said, "To the ice," with an arrow to the right. To the left, locker rooms. I went left. A short way down was a huge door. The iconic C in the Commodore's signature font was emblazoned in the center. Further on was a door marked Visitors, so of course I tried the one in front of me. It swung open easily. With my heart in my throat, I stepped inside. Wow. The oval-shaped room was gorgeous. It was done in light wood, navy, and maroon with ambient lighting. Along the wall stood each player's locker. Rivera, Simmons, Valentine, Ivanov, the roster went on. At the very back, side by side, were Paris and Malloy. The temptation to shoot video overtook me. I knew Audrey would kill me for this if she saw it, so I'd just have to be super careful how I used the footage. I shot several slow pans of the place, ending every time on the goalies' names. When I had enough, I walked down for a closer view. Paris had nothing but gear in his locker, but Malloy had a little Yoda figurine on his top shelf. Huh. I went up on tiptoe and plucked it for a closer look. Now, I am damn sure that you're not supposed to be here. My stomach crashed to the floor at the voice behind me. I whirled around to see the backup goalie himself standing with his arms crossed. I resisted the urge to double over in a cringe. I'd done enough of that the second I got to my car last night. Jesus, what a mess. How had I hit on a Connecticut Commodore and had not one clue? How did I miss it? Why, oh why had I then launched myself at him like the world was ending? Foolishness, that's how. On that late night in that lonely bar in Long Island, I should have asked more questions. Thought with my head. Not been so vulnerable. Then I would have put the pieces together. I was careless and sloppy, and now I had a mess on my hands. Instead of a cringe, I forced myself to face him. His expression was a neutral mask, giving away nothing about how angry he might be to find me snooping in his locker. In a panic, I hid the figurine behind my back. His gaze followed the sudden movement. What do you have? Nothing. I'll go. Sorry, I was just trespassing. Again. No, well, no. Looking. Funny thing about looking in places you're prohibited from being. It's generally called trespassing. Forget it, I'm going! I huffed out of breath like this was all one big inconvenience. But he stepped in my path when I tried to make for the door. One palm rose up to stop me. Not with my Yoda, you're not. His voice was low, firm, and amused. I looked from his palm to his face. He stared down at me, eyes narrowed but not angry. No emotion. Just waiting. Patient. Since he seemed content to wait me out, it took a long moment to study him, to understand how I hadn't instantly recognized him that night, to figure out how the hell I'd hit on him without a single inkling of who he was. The more I gazed at him, the more it made sense. He looked like a man trying to look like a hockey player and not quite succeeding. His clothes were too big. His hair had some length to it, but it wasn't styled like it was at the wedding. The rusty blonde mop ruffled on his forehead and over his ears. Plus, he wore his glasses again, just like at the wedding. I couldn't picture another player who wore glasses. He wore them well, even if they did distract from his gorgeous green eyes. Eesh, my memory was right. Those are the greenest eyes I've ever seen. Definitely not itching to rake my fingers through that hair like I did last night. Nope, not even a little bit. Give me the Yoda, please. He broke the silence at last. I wet my lips. My career had been built on audacity. No reason to be meek now. Or else what? It wasn't a threat. I want my property. If you want a consequence, I guess I'll call security and have them arrest you for theft and trespassing. Sounds like a scandal that'll be hard to spin to your fans. I clasped both hands behind my back and twisted side to side like a cheeky child. You don't know that. It could cement my legend status among my followers. Only if you say if it's Quentin's Yoda. Otherwise, you'll look like you're in cahoots with the enemy. You're not the enemy. You're just better on the bench. His eyes narrowed. Not good enough to warrant saying no to my face. No substitute for your precious Quentin, professionally or personally. Horror rashed over me at the implication in his words. My empty hand shot out to shove his chest. How dare you? Paris is my job. My content is my paycheck. I know I messed up big time by not recognizing you. I'm kicking myself for that so hard. But how dare you suggest I flirted with you as some kind of stand-in? Then why the hell did you? Why did you? Why didn't you recognize me? I don't use social media. Obviously you don't. When would I have seen a photo of you without your helmet on? Why would I recognize you with no context any more than you would me? And it's not like you look like a hockey player. So you didn't flirt with me just because you were upset about Quinn getting married? I flirted with you because I thought you were cute, okay? My tone made it sound like anything but a compliment. We both took deep breaths. Our glares didn't abate. At last, I spoke softly again. Can we please just do what you said last night? Forget that it ever happened. Pretend like we're total strangers. Yeah, it's forgotten. Good. Are you going to give me the Yoda or not? Of course I am. You're snooping in my locker and stealing my stuff after bound-mathing me to the entire planet. Forgive me if I'm not enchanted. At least I'm not asking for an interview. Miss, whatever your real name is, can we end this, please? I need to go. You may have heard, but I'm suddenly a little busy. I brought Yoda out from behind my back and held it to my chest. Only if I get to know the story behind Yoda here. A fan made it for me a long time ago. A kid in the local hospital had his dad 3D print it for me. The kid painted it. Oh, wow, that's so sweet. Yeah, Yoda is my talisman. Your what? My good luck charm. He sits on my shelf all the time for luck. He stepped closer and bent so we were face to face. And you, ma'am, have now messed with it. I didn't know you were superstitious. Magoli, what did you expect? Now I really wanted to pull those glasses off and kiss him again. The urge slapped me upside the head so hard that my breath caught. You literally just agreed to be strangers. What the hell, Nika? Calm down. It's just Goli Core. You know you can't resist their quirks. That this guy has them is inconvenient for sure, but pull yourself together. How can I unmess with it? He held his palm between us. I glanced down, sighed, and surrendered the toy. With a sharp inhale, he spun for his locker and put Yoda back on the exact spot he'd been before. His back was still to me when he said, You can't. You've messed with it. The question now will be, for good or for ill. How will you know? Ryan Malloy turned around and crossed his arms over his broad shoulders. He tilted his head and studied me head to foot. I guess we'll find out on game night. I think this is a good place to stop. I'm gonna leave it there.
I thought you were stopping. That's why.
I know. I was like, am I gonna stop here? I think I'm gonna stop here. I feel good about that stopping place.
I was like, oh, I wasn't doing it, so I was like, I thought you were.
No, you good.
I knew
I was like,
here,
I know. I was like, I think this is the stopping place. It feels right. This is the vibe.
It was so good. Like, I love it. I love a good hockey.
Thank you.
Hockey is the only sport I can actually sit down and watch. Like, my mom's all about football, and I'm like, no, football's boring. I mean, I'll go to my son's game, but I only cheer when he's playing. Other than that, hockey, hell yeah.
Love some hockey.
Yeah. All right. So we have a couple more questions, and then I actually have like another like deep question that I'm going to end with. So, Brittany, lead us in. Where are we at?
Yeah, Donna wants to know, do you carve out time each day to write?
Yes.
Every day. every day. I'll either put in writing or research. I'll spend at least 6 or 7 hours. I mean, I do take kids to the bus, pick up kids from the school, to school and whatever, but 6 or 7 hours without fail. I have to. I mean, I feel like I'm guilty, like I'm not doing my job, but I love my job.
Same.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Any more?
I don't think so. I'm browsing again just to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I think we got all of them this time.
Okay. So I've got a couple myself. I already asked one of Judy's, the historical. I'm going to do just like the basic. This isn't my deep one, just so you know that's next. Plotter or pantser for you both?
Answer.
Pantser.
Okay.
The whole way. I
Okay.
never know what's going to happen. Sometimes I wait for my characters to tell me what they want to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I know
they
what's
lead
going
me
to
in a
happen.
direction I didn't see coming, and I have to try to pull them back. But no, I'm a pantser.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen, but how they get there, I call it like pulling out a stitch, even though I can't sew to save my life. Like there are times when I'm like going in a direction and then it's like, oh no, we got to go back because this isn't actually how we lead. This book got started like 4 times. It was serious. But I did have like kind of like Judy's talking about, like letting them guide. I have had more than one character where I'm riding along and I can't figure out why she's acting the way she is, why she's resisting, and it's like they whisper to me. It's like, this is what happened to me in the past. So that's a very interesting thing when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this one I am going to open up to also Brittany, because Brittany, this is a new question on the show, and I don't know if you've seen it recently, but it has become a favorite question. So, if your life/love life were tropes, what would your love life tropes be, or life? Yeah, that's my favorite question. I mean, our viewers love it. So, what will your tropes be?
I think ours would be Hot Mess Express with life and farm and sneaking it in whenever you got time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot Mess Express. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, but how about your meet cute? What would the trope of your meet cute bit be?
Oh, we were a blind date.
Okay, so blind date. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Blind date at Starbucks that lasted like 8 hours. They closed the store down and we were still sitting outside and finally went home. I almost didn't go, and my roommate was like, just go. You never do anything like this. You're never going to meet anyone if you don't get up and leave the house. And I was like, all right. She was like, I'm like 2 minutes down the road. You can text me 911 and I'll come save you. And she kept texting me and checking on me. She's like, he didn't kidnap you, did he? And I'm like, no, I'm still at Starbucks.
Nice. Who's next? Who wants to go next?
All right, I guess you can say that I'm unique. And I guess I'd have to say love at first sight. I met my husband when I was 14.
Oh.
He was 14 in middle school. And 2 weeks after I met him, we started going steady. 7 years later, I married him.
Okay.
I never had another boyfriend. I never wanted another boyfriend. And because I had such a wonderful husband, I know what love is and was. So I think I pour that into my books because that's what I try to convey. But I guess I have to say young love at first sight. Because
young love, first sight, and high school sweethearts.
Absolutely.
You don't see high school sweethearts that last very often.
No. So I guess you could say I'm either weird or unique. And
I love that.
and I have to tell you, my husband passed away,
I'm sorry.
and I have not gotten over it. And a couple of my friends, well, why don't you go on a site to find somebody? I says, why in God's name would I want to look at some old fogey who complains about his health? He can't walk, his hip hurts. I said, I don't need that. I said, just no way, no way. Because I mean, but yet I can write seasoned romance.
Yeah.
Because I make every seasoned romance guy nice, not complaining all the time. That's what I'm saying. Just create your own characters.
Yeah. Okay, Skye, what about you? What
Well, I kind of have to pick like what relationship we're going to talk about. Like, I don't want to give it too much away. Okay. Instant attraction. I don't think. Yeah, I'm not going to say that one. Instant attraction, I would say. Because similar to Brittany, had drinks on a Tuesday that lasted. Actually, it only ended because I had to go home and feed my corgi. So there was that, and I guess the term is sapiosexual is the word that I'm thinking, but it's not really a trope. It's more of like a preference, but it's like the idea that you need to be mental, like a deep mental connection with somebody, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would say love at first sight. While that is lovely, it was more like, oh, this is really interesting. So kind of that. And then can we say forced proximity because it was 2020? I mean, we can, right? We can just say
yeah, forced proximity.
Yeah, forced proximity, aka COVID. So yeah, I will say that.
Awesome. All right, well, we are over time like we usually do. So ladies, tell our readers where they can find you the most on social media.
Well, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and I do post TikToks every once in a while. But basic way to get a hold of me is my website. And there's a link, an address where they can reach out to me.
Nice. What about you,
I'm most active on these days on Facebook. I do have an Instagram. I do have a TikTok, but I focus on my Facebook page, specifically my Facebook group, which is called Sky's the Limit, SKYE, the Limit. Please come and join. I know some of my group members are here tonight. I'm so excited to see them. But so Facebook, lesser Instagram, and then, like Judy said, authorskymcdonald.com. But my handle is author Skye McDonald across it. So, and then my books are all on Amazon. And I think as of right now, they're all on KU for now.
Nice. Okay. And Brittany, why don't you just tell us where they can meet you the most?
Probably Facebook or TikTok. I haven't been super active on TikTok as far as posting, but I'm always there lurking and commenting on other authors and stuff like that. And I do have a website, BrittanyArmitage.com, but I do respond to Facebook messages. I love hearing from readers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, readers. Well, you can win giveaways from them. Judy is US only. I don't know if that's noted in there, but just so you guys know, Judy's giveaway is US only, and Skye she's open. So go to romancehappyhour.com, our Facebook page, or not .com, but our Facebook page, Romance Happy Hour, and just comment on there to win. Follow them, do the action that they're requesting for it, and then we will choose this week. And thank you so much, ladies, for joining me. I had so much fun with you guys.
Thank you so much.
So awesome.
Had a great time.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Yes.
And thank you, Brittany, so much for co-hosting with me tonight.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
All right, and we will see you guys, you viewers, the second Thursday of December. We are skipping this next show in November because of Thanksgiving, so American Thanksgiving. So second Thursday of December, we will see you guys again, and thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.